Hey guys, welcome to my third place in the world, and of course I'm talking about Moab, Utah, and I'm here with our brand new to us Defender 90. Now I'm here by myself, so I'm rolling two cameras, one there and one here, and we're going to use this guy when we go over the obstacles. I'm going to use that guy to talk to you. So let's start by showing you where we're at, and I'm here at our favorite trail that we use to test all of our favorite vehicles. And of course I'm talking about fins and things, but I mean, look at the beauty here. Oh my gosh, this is so spectacular. And now that it's almost December, it's almost empty. Okay, there's a guy over there, but for the most part it's empty. Now of course this is our new to us, and when I say that I mean it's a 2023 Defender 90, which means it's the short one with 2 doors, not with 4 doors. We bought it a few months ago because I fell in love with the Pangea, I believe, green color. I love the kind of, well, they're fake steelies, but they look phenomenal. Somebody had swapped out the standard Defender tires for these terrific BFG KO2s. And of course, this being the base model, it doesn't have air suspension. It's got coilovers, which is a good thing because, well, when you get the air suspension, you get the ability to raise the vehicle, to get out of the sun for you, but you also then feel like you're on tippy toes and you lose a lot of suspension travel. This way you have a lot of suspension travel, but the downside, as I just found out, is we only have about 10 inches of ground clearance, give or take. And coming out here, I just managed to bash the bottom of that skid plate a little bit, but isn't that what it's for? So no big whoop. And I haven't aired down in case you're wondering, and the reason for that is, yes, we're going to be going over frame bender. I don't really want to lose any more ground clearance, and airing down would mean that. Plus, slick rock is anything but slick, unless of course it's icy, and then it's super slick. But we've got 2 ways to go here. We can go, let me show you, we can go, one more. We can go the easy way or the hard way. And of course, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go the hard way. So, first time in Moab with our Defender 90. And this is just a 4-cylinder, which is perfect because you don't need a lot of horsepower when you're out here off-roading, but you do need a low range, which this of course has. Let me show you. So we've got different drive modes. In this switch you can see, so those are the different drive modes, and I've already selected the rock crawl because we will be rock crawling. I've got it in low range. This center diff is the only thing I can lock, and in fact I can't lock it, but the car can lock it. And it does when needed. So I think, you know, Land Rover has done a terrific job in coming out with, I would say, the world's best terrain management system. I mean, they invented it. And so it really does a good job in finding the power and, sending the power to the wheel that has traction and kind of taking it away from the one that doesn't, so that you're not stuck. But kept you waiting long enough. Let us rock and roll and head on out over some of our favorite obstacles. So first and foremost, we're going to get over some of these interesting rock crawly bits, and then down to frame bender, and then see how the vehicle does up one tree hill. But this is a good test of articulation. As always, departure, approach, and breakover angle. And you know what? I've been driving a lot of trucks, and you can see that I can't see, this is what I'm seeing, really what's in front of me, but that's why you have these 3 cameras here. Oops, I just lost one. How did I manage that? I touched it by accident. Don't you hate when you do that? All right, well, that shows you where the front wheel's going, which actually is pretty darn useful. So let's see where the front wheels are going, because right now, I feel like I'm about to go over a cliff. Now, I know I'm not going to go over a cliff because I've been here before, but from my point of view, that's what it looks like. But now we have a good idea of what rocks I'm about to traverse. Of course, the problem is this flattens everything out. I do like the fact that they have made the hood disappear, but what I'm going to do is I am going to take this camera and I'm going to put it out there so you can see how the truck does. And see how the truck does. And the great thing about being here at Fins and Things, there is the route. Now this is, and the camera will flatten everything out. This is the bit where it gets very rock crawly. So I have to pick a line, and normally I would get a spotter here, but since I am by myself, no such luck. So what we'll do is we'll probably come this way as opposed to that way, and then sharp turn this way. So I'll put the camera right here, and you can see if I bash the front of the truck on any of these obstacles. All right, so that actually makes it easy because I can see that I have to go right at my camera. So I've got my view of the wheels in front of me. And here I go, heading right for the camera. Uh-oh, don't want to hit my mic, put it up like there. And of course the trick is just to take it very easy, because this is not Baja running, this is rock crawling. And if you're going to bash something, it's always good to do it slowly. Like right there, I just hit the skid plate, but that's what it's for. Make a little bit of a hard turn here. Get my tires in the air. And of course, this has independent suspension, which the Toyota guys and the Land Rover guys will say is fine off-road, but which the Jeep guys will say leaves you with wheels hanging in the air. And they're both right. What a beautiful day, huh? Let me go get the camera and I'll be right back. So we've got just a little recovery hook here in case we get in trouble from our friends at WaySafe. I know they make hitches for Andre's trucks, but they also make really good off-road products, believe it or not. And the other thing that, of course, I have to tell you is this video is brought to you by our friends at Onyx Off-Road. Now, I'm here at Fins and Things, and we've done it dozens of times, so I won't get lost. But if you're here for the first time, like that dude in the Land Cruiser, he was really struggling, get Onyx Off-Road, use the discount code TFL Off-Road for a substantial discount, and you'll never be lost. Yeah, this is all mapped out. All right, so you might be wondering, why am I not in Hell's Revenge, which is right over there? And the reason for that is because, let's face it, as much as the Defender has a reputation for off-roading, let's face it, the very first Land Rovers were tractors, and then eventually they conquered Africa and then moved their way up to building the last generation Defender, which was super off-road capable. It was very much like a Jeep in that it had great approach departure breakover angles and bits that were not very breakable. This Defender, while it is capable off-road, I would say it's Fins and Things capable. It might not be Hell's Revenge capable. And I was just talking to the guy at the entrance, and he said, well, you taking this? And I said, yeah, I'm taking it to Fins and Things. And he goes, why not Hell's Revenge? And I said, well, because if I drove out of Hell's Revenge, it might look a little different going out than going in. A little bit more rock crawling here. Let's get the camera out here, show you how this articulates. It has been raining here in Moab. They had some massive floods, and that's made the slick rock a little slicker, so I'm being careful. But in general, unless it's icy, it's not all that slick. So let me put my camera out here, and then we'll go down this bit and head over to Frame Bender and see just how much or how little approach and departure angle I actually have with only 10 inches or so of ground clearance. Actually breakover angles. All right. God, I do love those KO2s. You know, there's a truism, and that is every vehicle, and I mean every vehicle, I'm talking about the 911, the car, or the new BMW M5 Touring, just looks better with off-road tires. Sorry, all you track guys, but they just do. They just look meaner, they look more purposeful. They look like they're ready to take on the worst weather, you know, the hardest stuff you can throw at them. So if you want to make your on-road car look cool, forget about slamming it, forget about putting track tires on it, go get yourself some off-road tires. And not just KO2s or KO3s. We just did a test. We just did a test with Firestones, and they did really well. Falcons are great too. If you're wondering about which is best, head on over to all TFL and check out that test that Tommy did with the 3 different sets of off-road tires, and you'll be amazed at the results. I know that sounds kind of clickbaity, but it's true. All right, so coming up now is frame bender. And what makes frame bender so interesting is that there's a big drop off. And usually when I'm here with somebody, they'll let me know when the drop off is coming. This time I'm going to have to guess at it, which is never a lot of fun. And the reason we call it frame bender is because if you hit it hard, you could bend the frame. So what I'll do is the same thing. I'll go around here and I will set up my camera, and then you guys can watch me bend or not bend the frame. And this is what I'm seeing right now, and this is what I'm seeing over here. So yeah, it's pretty steep right about here. All right, put it in park and let me go over. Oh gee, there's a lot of side-by-sides coming. Got a bad feeling I'm gonna get in their way. So if I had a lot more breakover angle, I would go over in that way. But since I don't, I'm going to go over on this side of it, just because I have to drive this vehicle home. And that's about 300 miles back to Colorado. So let me try to give you a wide shot, and that way you guys can see just how much I bend or not bend the frame. All right, let me look right here. You can see the drop off. Yeah, it's right about there. All right, here we go. For a long time, I was here by myself. Now we've got all the side-by-sides. And I love side-by-sides. Don't get me wrong, but they make this look like cake. And sometimes the fun part is when stuff is challenging, because that's when your heart starts beating like it's beating now. All right, I can't really tell where the drop off is because that camera flattens everything out, but I assume it's right about here. There we go. Oh yeah, tires are slipping, car's slipping. I must be close to it. Oh yeah. Oh God. That's a little, oh yeah. That's a little butt crunchy. That is definitely a little butt crunchy. All right, now the back tire has to go over it. And whenever that rear wheel comes up, you feel like you're going to tumble over sideways. And that is genuinely a little frightening. But we did it. Let me go get the camera again. Sorry about this, guys, but it's just me. Now, when we first bought this Defender, the first time around, I don't want to go through all that, but I was not happy with it. We struggled with it, and that's why we bought this guy, because we wanted to tell the rest of the story, basically. We wanted to make sure that we were fair to the vehicle. And I have to say, let me change my camera angle here, I really do I should say I really have fallen in love with this truck. The old one had the air suspension. This one doesn't. I think that makes for a big difference. The 90, some people say the proportions look funny. I think they look great. I also love the fact that this depreciates so quickly. So this truck was about 65, give or take, when it was new, when we bought it a year later with 10,000 miles on it for 53. And like I say, I've utterly and helplessly fallen in love with it. Heated steering wheel, heated seats, not horrible fuel economy. I'm getting like 22 mpg with this little 2-liter turbo. Can you believe it? A 2-liter turbo that puts out almost 300, or does put out 300 horsepower. That 10 years ago would have seemed crazy, and now here we are. So it's one of those cars that has everything you want and nothing you don't. Okay, maybe a rear locker. That would be the only thing that I would want. But otherwise, it's pretty darn perfect. Now, this is the one place I may regret not airing down, because right here, it does get a little tricky. We call this One Tree Hill, as you can see. And this is where Land Rover's famous terrain management system is going to come into play. Because what will happen is tires will start spinning, and it's going to have to find traction. And there is a little bit of a danger, and that is once it starts spinning, you can slam into that tree. So I hope that doesn't happen to me. But like I said, in a side-by-side, you would just go bloop, no problem. In this, yeah, there's a little bit of a problem. But then there's also a little bit of a victory if you make it all the way up. So I'm going to go up here where the tires start to spin. I'll put the camera in the location I know where you'll get it. And we'll see if I can make it, or if I'm going to have to back up and come back down. Well, there is a lot of sand, which isn't grand. Makes for worse traction. Makes for even worse walking traction. But I think right about here is where usually things start to get a little funky. Well, let's see how. Okay, I'm gonna do it a little more like this. Let's see how. Where's the tree? I lose the tree. I don't want to lose the tree. All right. Let's see how the Defender does. Now, Nathan would take this hill with momentum. The downside of momentum is that you can break things. You can break things that are expensive to fix. But I've been, saying just how great Land Rover's terrain management system is, just how well it allocates power. So let's see if it's true or not. Here we go. Just crawling my way up. Spinning tires. Holy cow! That was the easiest I've ever done that. Yes! All right, let me go get the other camera. Holy cow, that was like a side-by-side. That was just cake. All right, so I wish we had tire spinning and a lot of tire smoke going up One Tree Hill, but we didn't. I mean, that was boringly easy, I'm afraid. And really a testament to just how much traction this vehicle has. Now, here's the issue. To go do Hell's Revenge in this, I would have to lift it, or I would prefer to lift it, because 10 inches of ground clearance, we've been in there a lot, is just not enough. Let me give you a little, let me show you what I'm seeing here. It's just not enough. And it'll do it, but stuff will break. And ever since I was a little kid, I'm kind of the opposite of Whistling Diesel. I just can't stand breaking things. I still have all of my toys. It's just somehow deeply programmed into my DNA. So, my choice is always to take a slow and methodic approach and not break stuff versus doing it fast and easy and breaking stuff. And that's not as interesting on video, is it? But it's the way I'm wired, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I have to say, I think that was a super impressive demonstration of just how capable this vehicle is. And you can lift it. I have a friend, Steve Bird, at the Denver Land Rover dealership, Range Rover dealership, who does these incredible jobs with these vehicles by lifting them. But it's a lot of work, and it's very expensive. And then the geometry is wrong. And so what you end up doing by lifting this is you'll make it much better off-road, but much worse on-road. And, this thing's going to spend 98% of its time on-road. And so why would I want to do that? All right, here's a very steep incline. I mean, super steep. I don't know if you guys can tell just how steep this is, but we're going to start sliding. Yeah, we're sliding. A little scary. There's the hill descent control kicking in. That was a little scary, but no problem. The other thing that I think has made me fall in love with it, and I know this is not kind of what you're supposed to say about cars, but this is just a really good looking car. So Jerry McGovern, who designed this, just, nailed it out of the ballpark. It has these kind of frowny eyebrows, a little bit like a frowny Jeep, which gives it this kind of determination, square-jawed look that I always find extremely satisfying, and the kind of car where you look at it from behind after you park it. I mean, that's really what we're talking about, because it's such a good-looking car. And I'm a sucker for good-looking cars. But what I found out over the last several months of taking this off-road in Colorado and now here in Moab is that I have to say it, I was wrong about this. I initially said, that this was, I'm going to use the word poser, because it's hard to get a rear locker. You can get them, certainly can't get a front locker. It doesn't necessarily have the traditional cred that you'd want from an off-roader, right? There isn't a huge aftermarket community for this, and a lot of the parts that you can get for it from Land Rover are kind of silly. I mean, you can get the snorkel, but then there's that silly box that goes on the side, which I don't think anybody's figured out a real use for. And a lot of it is cosmetic accessories, unlike a Jeep where you can, get rock rails and lift kits and bumpers, where you don't have to take off the whole front fascia, which you'd have to do on this one if you wanted to put a winch on it. I mean, you don't have to get the Trek edition. You can just do it with, a relatively easy mod. And the car is meant to be modded. This, not so much. But I'm kind of maybe drinking the Kool-Aid in that I'm starting to feel that it really doesn't matter, because out of the box, there's a little bit of water. It is just so capable and so much fun. Because to get here, I went down to Arizona and then came back, and I just put on 1,500 miles. And I have to say, it was the most comfortable 1,500 miles I could think of. The car didn't put a foot wrong. And that's a hard thing to pull off, where it's good at both on-road and then good at off-road. Sure, it might be a little bit more designed, let's say, focused at the on-road part, but that makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, you're going to spend most of your time on-road. But I have fallen in love with this. And I got to say, there goes a motorcycle. He's flying. But I have to say, good job, Land Rover. I'm impressed. And, you know, we don't keep our cars that long. We just sold Trailhound. And I'm going to be very sad. Let me go outside here for the park. I'm going to be very sad for when it's time to say goodbye to our Defender 90. Yeah, look at that. That is a good looking machine. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for, giving me a half hour of your time and joining me on this Moab off-roading adventure. And remember, head on over to alltfl.com for more news, views, and Defender 90 off-road reviews. I'll see you next time. Ciao.